Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever just looked out your window and really wondered how that little slice of the world you see connects to, well, the entire planet? From scorching hot deserts to super lush rainforests. It turns out the blueprint for every single one of those amazing places is written in the sky above them. So today, let's explore how it all fits together. All right, first up, a little question for you. Go ahead, take a quick look outside. Whatever you're seeing, maybe it's sunny, maybe it's cloudy, raining, windy. Are you looking at the weather or are you looking at the climate? Now, it seems like a really simple question, right? But trust me, the answer is the key to understanding everything else we're going to talk about. So, what you're seeing right now at this very moment, that is the weather. It's what's happening in the atmosphere in a specific place at a specific time. Like when you check a forecast and it shows the temperature, the humidity, the chance of rain for today or maybe for the next few days, weather is all about the short term. And man, can it change fast.
Here's a super easy way to think about it. Weather is checking your phone in the morning to decide if you need to grab an umbrella. Climate, on the other hand, is the reason you own a winter coat and a pair of swim trunks in the first place. It's the whole wardrobe, not just today's outfit. It's the long-term pattern, not just a daily snapshot.
And here we go. This is the official definition. Climate is the average of all that weather, all the sunny days, the rainy days, the highs, the lows, all of it added up over a really long period of time. It's basically the personality of a region, what you can expect it to be like most of the time. So how long is a long period? Well, for scientists, the magic number is usually 30 years. Yep, 3 decades. You need at least that much data to really smooth out all the weird blips, like a freak warm winter or a super dry summer, and find the true reliable pattern for a region's climate. And this graph right here, this is what that long-term data actually looks like. This isn't about whether one Tuesday in 1998 was a little hot. Nope. This shows a 70-year trend of average temperatures. This is how scientists literally see climate. It's how they spot the big picture changes. Okay, so we've got climate down, these big, long-term patterns of hot, cold, wet, and dry. But so what? What do these patterns actually create on the ground? Well, that brings us to the planet's incredible, amazing living landscapes. I absolutely love this quote. It just nails it. A region's climate doesn't just, influence life a little bit. It basically sculpts the entire ecosystem that can exist there. And these huge, distinct ecosystems, we call them biomes. And look at this. This map shows the result perfectly. Each one of those colored bands is a different major biome. See the dark greens wrapped around the equator? Those are the tropical rainforests. The tan-colored areas, those are your deserts. And why are they all arranged in these neat bands? It all comes back to climate. So how does climate cook up a biome anyway? It's actually kind of like a recipe. And for pretty much every biome on land, there are 2 main ingredients that are way more important than anything else. So scientists call these abiotic factors, basically the non-living parts of an ecosystem. And while things like sunlight and soil type definitely play a part, the 2 heavyweight champions are temperature and precipitation. Think about it. Temperature controls how fast life can happen. And precipitation, well, water is everything. It's the essential ingredient that kicks off the whole food chain. Now, I know this chart might look a little crazy at first, but stick with me. It's basically our biome recipe book. It's a super cool tool that shows exactly how different combinations of our 2 main ingredients, temperature and rainfall, create every major biome on Earth. Let's break it down real quick. Our first key ingredient is temperature. On that chart we just saw, this is basically the up and down scale, running from freezing, polar cold, all the way down to scorching tropical heat. Think of it as the first big dial you turn to set a region's environment. And our second key ingredient is annual precipitation. How much rain or snow a place gets in a year. This is our dry to wet scale. So when you combine a certain temperature with a certain amount of rain, boom, you can pinpoint almost exactly what kind of biome is going to form right there. All right, enough theory. Let's put our recipe book to the test. We're going to take a quick tour of 2 completely different biomes and see how their climate, ingredients create totally different worlds. So here you have 2 total extremes. On the left, a hot, dry desert. On the right, a map showing those hot, wet, tropical rainforests. Now notice, they're both hot. They share that ingredient. But that second ingredient, water, it could not be more different. And that changes everything. Let's look at the recipes. For a hot desert, you've got your dose of high temperature, but you combine it with almost no precipitation. So life there, like a cactus, has to be a master of surviving with barely any water. Now, the tropical rainforest, same high temperature, but then you just drench it with tons and tons of rain. And that recipe creates a world packed with giant trees and the most diverse life on the entire planet.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's really simple, but also really powerful. It's that from the weather changing outside your window right now to the biggest living landscapes on Earth, everything is connected. It's a really clear chain of cause and effects. The daily weather, when you average it over decades, becomes the long-term climate. And that climate, that specific recipe of temperature and rain, is what draws the lines on the map. It dictates the kind of life that can thrive there, and that ultimately creates the world's biomes. The non-living world literally shapes the living one. And that leaves us with one last, pretty important thought. We've seen how climate is the recipe that has carefully shaped all life on Earth for millions of years. It's the artist that drew all those biomes on the map. So, the really critical question for all of us today is, what happens when we start changing the ingredients in that recipe?